the Larry Bruno Foundation, Stevie Higgins, and of course this is the winningest coach in the history of the WPIAL, Jim Render, who's in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania.
It's the first time I've been here.
Listen, Upper St. Clair, he has nothing to do with this. You have to find a building to do this for him, please. If you need me, he can get a hold of me, he can get a hold of me. All right, before we go any further, because I'm giving everyone love today, I got a busy day, tell everybody who's filming this video.
Jim Campese's our filmer, and Jim is a Beaver Falls graduate, 1975. His father was a football coach at Beaver Falls, and he actually was Joe Namath's junior high football coach.
And let me just refresh your memory, Coach. This gentleman here, who's one of the many people who have made this happen, but he is the driving force, Steve Higgins, actually played for Paul Bear Bryant, wide receiver. He, from Beaver Falls, part of that 75 graduating class, and he has, and we're going to show you before I leave, rare footage. This is amazing, and it's crystal clear. Tell everybody what we're going to give them a glimpse of before I leave.
Well, actually, this is the 50th anniversary season of the very first Blackhawk Beaver Falls game. It was in November of '74. I happened to be on that Beaver Falls team that year. Beaver Falls did win that first game 21-0. Kevin Scanlon was our quarterback. He had a big game. However, we did win the first game. However, Blackhawk does lead the series, the entire series over Beaver Falls, but we did win that first game. And I have the DVD here in the museum, so it is available if anybody wants to promote that 50th game, that 50th year. We have the film right here of the first game.
All right, by the way, also, happy 90th, and I've already done a video on him, but last night I couldn't make it. He was there at the Upper Ohio Valley Lou Holtz Hall of Fame. Digger Dawson, much love you, happy 90th again. They had a big bash for him, truly one of the best ever. And you think of Larry Bruno, you think of East Liverpool, you were an assistant there. Larry graduated from there, matriculated to Geneva College. They just keep making the dots connect. So, Larry Bruno, Jim Render, what does he mean?
Larry's sister, Grace, was a very good friend of mine. She ran a dress shop in East Liverpool when I coached there. And her son, Chucky Winters, was our quarterback. And of course I met Larry Bruno, Coach Bruno back in those days. I was telling Steve we actually beat Beaver Falls at a game in East Liverpool, which did not make Coach Bruno very happy.
I can imagine. Anyway, speaking of East Liverpool, they're having a kind of a tough start. They lost to Indian Creek last week. They're 0-2. Coach Cusick, I'm going to try to find time to get down there and say hello to you. But tonight they take on Salem. Mr. Sebo, Ted Arnott.
He was there last night.
Was he? Nice. Anyway, so good luck to the Potters and the mighty Quakers of Salem. Now that I've done all of that, when you come in a place like this and you haven't gotten the 10-cent tour yet, and you will, this is so important for football fans and what they've done here, and of course Joe Namath, the banquet, what they do and what Digger has done. Explain why this is so important to keep these memories moving forward.
Well, first of all, you know, Beaver Falls is a special place. I learned about Beaver Falls before I moved to Pennsylvania. But it's one of these towns where most of the residents graduated from Beaver Falls, and a lot different than Upper St. Clair, where most of the adults did not graduate at Upper St. Clair.
Mm-hmm.
So you have here, I think you have, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but you have a rallying point because the residents bleed Beaver Falls.
They do.
And that's great. My hometown of Dover, Ohio was similar. Dover and Philadelphia rivalry is second only to Massillon and Canton McKinley in length, years and so forth. So I grew up in a Beaver Falls type community and fond memories,
How was your trip to New York?
Well, it was wonderful.
See the Yankees?
I absolutely did.
That's his team, by the way.
They played a Thursday afternoon game. I took the subway out
Nice.
like I was a New Yorker and went to the game. Judge hit a home run right in front of me. And
He does that a lot.
Yes, and lately.
I know.
And I had dinner at my all-time favorite restaurant in Soho.
What was it? What is it?
It's called Emilio's Mulatto.
Nice.
And I met the owner a couple years ago, and so I reintroduced myself, which helped get me a table, you know.
Stevie, this guy right here, let's just brag on him a bit. Winningest coach, no, relax, this is my show today. The winningest coach.
It's always yours.
I know, well, I'm honored to have you here. The winningest coach in the WPIA. We think of all the great coaches. I mean, in Beaver County alone, you know, Blackhawk, you think of Joe Hamilton, it just goes on, Pat Tarquinio. Talk about this guy's legacy.
Oh, he's so well known. We've known about Coach Renner for many years down in this area. But Coach Bruno would be so proud right now to have Coach here visiting, you know, because he's such a special. And then the way he pays respect to the older coaches is something I really like about him. Because we had so many great coaches in this area, not just Coach Bruno. I mean, I could go right with Coach Tarquinio and Coach Flory, you know, right down the line. I don't want to leave anybody out. You know, that's the whole group. And
When I came here, they said I wouldn't be successful because I wasn't Italian. Bruno and Laurel and
well, the first time I
Tarquinio.
met him was at the Italian banquet down in Ambridge that Gus Matika runs. You
great
know,
guy.
so he knew how to pay his respect to the older guys, and then he matriculated through that respect. Then he got his day at the top, and it's such an honor to have him here. And the way that they play football in Upper St. Clair is kind of like we always kind of wanted to emulate the Pittsburgh schools, and especially when Bill Ross was our AD, he was huge. You know, he was such a promoter of the Tigers, and he would say, you know what, we're just as good as those Pittsburgh schools, and we have to prove that we're good. And every time we get the opportunity, we have to take advantage of it. And his program was one of the ones that we would reach for, try to be like.
You realize this guy, we're the same age. Women wanted to date him, men wanted to beat him. He was a tremendous athlete, and there's been so many, but obviously you think of Joe Namath. And you were coming up then when that whole thing was happening. Goes, plays for Bear Bryant, does his thing there, goes to the Jets, wins the Super Bowl. What made him, from a football standpoint, such a great football player, Joe Namath?
Joe, wow. First of all, he had great legs back in those days.
He did.
And he was a marvelous athlete.
Steve.
The proof's in the pudding, you know. I mean, he had a marvelous career here at Alabama. And I met him a couple years ago at that banquet, and it was fun to meet him. I got a great Lindy Laurel story.
Yeah, I want to hear it. I was going to ask you to do this.
We're scouting. I had just been hired at Upper St. Clair, and we're scouting a game at Seneca Valley, I think. Whoever it was only played Saturday afternoon games in those days. So I'm coming up the bleachers going to scout this game. And Don Yanesses, who I knew, was at the top of the stairs, and Lindy Laurel was sitting there. And Don says, Coach, have you ever met Lindy Laurel? And I says, no. I've heard so much about you. It's my pleasure. And Lindy's sitting there with his back up against the press box, and he says to me, you must be pretty good. And I says, what? He says, you must be pretty good. I says, Coach, I'm the new kid on the block here. He says, no. He says, you got Upper St. Clair written on your shirt. You're telling everybody who you are and where you're from.
Right.
To this day, and this is 40-something years, 48 years later, I never wore an Upper St. Clair shirt when
Okay.
I was visiting someplace else. You know. Friday night in our games, that's a little different.
Lesson learned.
But lesson learned. Lindy said, you're showing off who you are.
Wow.
So it was fun meeting him. And I might add, we had one of our greatest Upper St. Clair victories was down against Newcastle at their stadium.
Taggart Field.
Yeah, I said something to the press afterwards that this was a great, this is one of my thrills. And then he said, yeah, he won. That's what I said.
Listen, I'm going to have you just go over there and relax. Don't leave yet. We're going to go back. This gentleman, Mr. Campese's arm's getting tired, so we're going to go back and show this DVD real quick. I just want people to know the type of stuff that you have here and why they need to find time. Let me tell you how important you are. He basically turned around to come here to do this because Jim Render was in the building. Oh yeah. And listen, when I heard you were on your way to Beaver Falls, I went, it's got to be Friday night. It's gotta
I'm so
be
glad you called. So glad.
me too. Listen, don't leave. Come on, let's go. Come on, everybody walk back. Come on. Take your time to show a little bit of this great museum.
His arms were getting tired.
I know they are, but I want to show this DVD real quick. Pretty impressive stuff. Come on. Come on back. We're going to wrap it up back here. All right. Come on back. Very first Blackhawk Beaver Falls game. So this is the fall of '74.
This is November of '74. Yeah. This is our Sondheim Communication Center, by the way. And this happens to be the very first Blackhawk Beaver Falls game. We just acquired a copy of this, and we have it in our archives, and we'll have it forever.
So they do all sorts of good things here, but the best part, the history that was, will continue to be a part of future generations. And Larry Bruno was a huge part of not just football lives, but many lives, including mine. So when you get a chance, and when the lights are on, come and see Mr. Higgins and Company, because it's a trip that you will definitely be thankful for. Have a great rest of your day. Your Pat Pack. Don't forget this weekend, Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show, previewing Steelers in Atlanta. Will Justin Fields or Russell Wilson be a quarterback? Wilson dealing with some cap issues once again. It's your Pat Pack. Good afternoon from Beaver Falls.